You know, there's a certain irony to this entire channel, where most of my videos are just me editing music together, despite the fact that I am tragically opinionated. This is due almost entirely to the fact that I'm too lazy and have too short of an attention span to actually edit together long-form videos and thoughts. So to fix that, here's a series where I take a scene from Dragon Ball and compare and contrast all the different music that's been put to it and declare a winner. Let's go. I'm going to start with one that a lot of English speakers are more familiar with, the Toonami Faulkner score. While I'm usually a sucker for compositional techniques, the scene is really heavy on tone and emotion, so that's really what I'm looking for here. And honestly, I think the Faulkner score does an okay job. I think the first half is actually really great. The first track that plays here is really dire and almost kind of scary, which I think is really the tone that's being evoked in this scene. Like, yes, this is a big triumphant moment for Vegeta, but it's also terrifying, and he's probably gonna die, and this probably isn't gonna work, and I think this first track nails that perfectly. The second track acts as a sort of interlude for Vegeta thinking to himself, and I think it works well enough. It doesn't work as well as the previous track, but it does its job. Unfortunately, that's where the job doing stops here. Once Vegeta begins his attack, they switch to the Vegeta theme, quote-unquote, which is honestly just completely tonally dissonant with the rest of the scene, and I don't think works very well at all. Wow, that was quick. Who's next? Up to bat, we've got the Kikuchi Score, and I'm just gonna be upfront with this. This knocks it out of the park in just about every regard. The first and primary track here nails that dire tone I was talking about before, just perfectly. Although I might dock it a few points for it having appeared a bunch of times in the previous dozen or so episodes. It'd be nice to have a fresh, new track here for such a momentous scene. The interlude track here again does its job, but I think it does its job better than the Faulkner track. I think it manages to keep some of that nervous energy that the interlude track and the Faulkner score loses. And then in this case, I think silence is golden because they end the scene with no music at all. I think the deafening silence mixed with Horikawa's great performance in the original recording really just close out this episode perfectly. Alright, one more to go. Lastly, we've got Sumitomo for the Kai dub, and I am going to break some hearts on this one. I love Sumitomo. I've loved Sumitomo for a long time, but I don't love his contributions here. I mean, the track that he put together for this is perfectly competent. In fact, I think it's a really great track. Just not for this scene. You may disagree with me, and feel free to do so in the comments, but when I first read this scene in the manga, I do not get this happy-go-lucky, heroic, feel-good, into Vegeta feel from this scene. In fact, I think there's some evidence to back that that really wasn't the intent. When Vegeta comes back afterwards, he's still his same old grumpy self, and his emotional arc really isn't finished until the "You Are Number One" scene later on. As a result, while I love Sumitomo, and I love this track, I don't love this track here. So, when it comes to the soundtrack showdown, who wins out of the three? Well, if you didn't guess my answer, then you might not be the sharpest tool in the shed. The original Kikuchi Score here really fires on all cylinders, and I think does perfectly at bringing the manga scene to life. Anyways, that didn't take too long. If you're still around, thanks for still being around, and I'll catch you next time.